Next up is the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, unlike the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, actually had a first-round pick. And with their first-round pick, they kind of surprised quite a few people. They took Tulsa linebacker Zaven Collins with the 16th pick overall. Peter Schrager from Good Morning Football talked about a couple days before the draft that this pick was probably going to happen. I was very surprised that Zaven Collins went before Jeremiah Wasu-Koroa and Jamin Davis from Kentucky. This was a really reach here, in my opinion, for the Arizona Cardinals. I know it's one thing to try to get your linebacker of the future, but I really think they could have maybe traded back a little bit, got some draft capital in return, and still got Zaven Collins maybe in the early 20s or mid-20s. But this was a very interesting pick here for the Cardinals. I don't think it's a horrible pick, but I don't think it's a great pick. I think it's a solid pick up here by Arizona. And then the second round, they took a wide receiver. They took Purdue wide receiver Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore, kind of dropped in the draft a little bit due to his size. The Arizona Cardinals have a really nice wide receiver core. DeAndre Hopkins, getting Rondale Moore, getting AJ Green in free agency, Christian Kirk. There's some really nice young receivers in Arizona. I think getting Rondale Moore in the second could, give Kyler Murray some more weapons. Because AJ Green's not going to play much longer, maybe a year or two. Rondale Moore here, I think, was a steal here by the Arizona Cardinals with the 49th pick overall. They did not have a third-round pick, but with their fourth-round pick, they took Florida cornerback Marco Wilson. This pick kind of surprised me quite a bit. I did not think Marco Wilson was actually going to be drafted. Looking at PFF and Pro Football Network and all of their simulators, Marco Wilson was around the 250 to 300, power ranking range. Very surprised at this pick here. This was way too early, in my opinion. They did lose Patrick Peterson in free agency, going to the Minnesota Vikings on a one-year deal. And, I was kind of surprised they did not go corner earlier. If you're going to take a position need and a team need, at least have it be the best corner available at that position. That's not at all what the Arizona Cardinals did by taking Marco Wilson in the fourth. They did not have a fifth-round pick, but with their sixth-round pick, they took Duke edge rusher Victor Dimukeje. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that name wrong, but I thought this was a great pickup here. This was a phenomenal value pick. He was one of the most underrated edge rushers in the draft. Him and his teammate Chris Rumph. Chris Rumph was actually drafted a lot earlier than some people expected. I think some more help off the edge was a really nice idea for Arizona. Chandler Jones is coming off that season-ending injury. You get TJ Watt in free agency. He's very injury prone, getting some depth here in the sixth. I think it's a great idea by the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals actually had two sixth-round picks, and with their second sixth-round pick, they took UCF cornerback Tay Gowan. I thought this was a tremendous value pick here. One of the better steals in the secondary throughout the draft. Like I said, losing Patrick Peterson in free agency, they could really use some more cornerback depth fourth. Marco Wilson in the sixth. Just swap these two players where they were picked. I do not think that would be bad at all. Looking at that standpoint, Dylan was an absolute steal here in the sixth. I think he's going to be a nice stellar piece for the Arizona Cardinals secondary. I think this is one of the more underrated picks in the entire NFL draft. The Arizona Cardinals had two seventh-round picks, and with their first seventh-round pick, they take Cincinnati safety James Wiggins. I really like this pick. James Wiggins was one of my favorite safeties in the draft. I was really surprised he fell this late, dropping to 243rd overall. I thought he was a fourth or fifth round pick. Getting James Wiggins here is a steal, definitely the best safety available, probably the best player available. In general, getting some more depth in the secondary is not a bad idea for the Arizona Cardinals. Have Budda Baker, one of the best safeties in the NFL, get some more depth with James Wiggins. I love this pick here by the Arizona Cardinals, getting James Wiggins here in the seventh round. With their second seventh round pick and their final pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals took Penn State center Michal Menet. I don't really think this is a good pick here. I thought there was much better players available. Maybe take another wide receiver, maybe like Trey Walker, some of those guys like I mentioned. Trevon Grimes from Florida, Quentin Morris, a tight end from Bowling Green, Matt Bushman, the tight end from BYU. I thought there was a lot of better skill position players here available. I know they need some help in the offensive line, but I don't think getting a center here in the seventh round really amounts to nothing for the Arizona Cardinals. Interior offensive line. But I didn't really like this pick here. I thought the Arizona Cardinals could have got a much better player here for the 247th pick overall. Overall, I thought the Arizona Cardinals had a pretty solid draft, but overall draft grade for them was a B. They had some really nice picks and they had some not so great picks, but overall, I think the Cardinals had a pretty solid draft.